and we'll see who's going to join us live tonight. I'm Louise from Wildflower Wool, and welcome. If this is your first time joining me on these Monday Night Lives, welcome. And if you've been joining me the last couple months, I've been doing these live Mondays. I'm so glad that you're coming back every Monday to check up and see what my knitting progress is and what the new topic is we're talking about. I like to try to incorporate kind of like a little bit of a short knitting lesson in here. Since, knitting stores are closed down right now, I have not been teaching for over a year, which seems absolutely crazy. So I'm excited to do a little teaching here with you guys on Monday nights. Asa, you must have had a nap, girl. Oh my goodness. Welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. So we have got a lot to talk about tonight. Last week I had mentioned, hey Sabrina, how are you? I'd mentioned that we were going to talk about the tubular cast off. The last couple of weeks I've done a lot of talking about the tubular cast on, and thought it was only fair that we talk about the cast off. So I've got two versions of the cast off to show you. One is the grafted method, and the other is kind of, I guess, more of what the tubular cast off, if you've done it before, this is probably the method that you're more familiar with. But like everything, there are different names for things. There are different techniques for doing it. So we're going to do that with those two cast offs, the grafted and the tubular cast off. And then we're going to talk about the Chinese Waitress cast on, because I've talked about that a couple weeks in a row and thought this would be the night to show it to you. It's an interesting one. Oh my gosh, Asa, no nap for you. Well, I know Asa's on vacation, so you must be enjoying your vacation. All right, before we get into the how-to part, I'm going to talk about today's, hey Amber, today's yarn that I put up on Instagram. Can you guys see the beautiful colors? So Amber, that just popped in here and said hello, she dyed this yarn for me. Hi, Noelle. Hey, James. I saw James pop in here. I saw a few other people pop in, so welcome. Look at this beautiful yarn. I've had this in my stash for a little while, just waiting for the perfect project. And I think that tonight is the night to cast it on. This just, this is talking to me now. You know how yarn talks to you from your stash and it's like, cast me on now? Well, this is, I know, what is this with me? This is like the third week in a row I have had pink yarn. Lisa from the Codependent Knitters, she's knitting with yellow right now, and I'm knitting with pink. It's like the universe is totally out of whack right now. Must be spring. It must be spring that's making me think pink. I do like pink and yellow together, and this is pink and yellow. Amber called this Louise's Lemonade, and it's pink and yellow, and it is gorgeous. So on Instagram, I had asked what stitch pattern I should design a shawl with. And I said lace or slip stitches, and it was really close. And for a while, slip stitches was ahead. Then when I checked it I don't know, maybe at lunch, it was tied. It was 50-50 slip stitches or lace. And lace won out at the end, not by much, maybe only like 54% had voted for lace. A couple people had said, can you do both? And I was kind of thinking that already. So I think I may put a few slip stitches in here, maybe up the sides. I'm going to have to play around. But I think I might try to incorporate both. I know a couple people had said, lace is more springy, but slip stitches, I think with a bigger needle, I think we can make it work for spring. Also, I'm going to make Mayflower at some point. At some point, I will go back to that. So this is it. So stay tuned. Check out Instagram this week, and we'll see what this turns out to be. Okay, let's get into the fun stuff. Let's talk about the cast offs. Tubular cast off. We talked about that for a couple of weeks in a row, and I have got a couple little samples here. And okay, this is just to show you. This is actually a long tail cast on, and there is the stretch. It has a tubular cast off, so both are pretty stretchy. I thought I saw Jocelyn pop in here. Hi, Jocelyn. So sample number 1. This is a long tail cast on, and this is the grafted tubular cast off. I'm going to get those mixed up all night long, aren't I? This little sample, this has a tubular cast on, which is really pretty. And it has a tubular cast off. And they are both stretchy. I think actually my cast off is stretchier than my cast on. You can see, and maybe I just did it a little tight. I'm not sure, but still has quite a bit of stretch to it. And the tubular cast on definitely is getting quicker for me. The more time, which makes sense, right? The more times you do it, the faster it gets. Out of these 2 little samples, this was the tubular cast off. This was the grafted version. I can't see too much difference in the cast off edges. They're both very pretty. They're both reversible. They both carry their knit stitches from one side up along the edge and down into the other side. They both look very, very similar. So I guess it would be just a matter of personal preference, what you would like. I'm seeing the comments scroll by here, and I see Asa is going back into the depths of the Fiber Friends podcast, looking at all of the works in progress I have started over the years. I have no idea what kind of a list this is going to turn out to be, other than it's probably going to be crazy long. Okay, so I have got another little sample here. I've done 2x2 ribbing because the idea of tubular cast on and cast off is that it is it works well with ribbing. Hold on. I thought I had things set up a little bit better here, and I'm still dropping things all over the place. The first thing you need to know about the tubular cast off is that it has to be 1x1 ribbing to cast off. It doesn't mean that you can't knit your sleeve if you're doing a cuff on a sweater. It doesn't mean you can't do 2x2 ribbing, but when you go to cast it off, you need to have 1x1 ribbing. So what we're going to do for that, I've just cast on 12 stitches just to kind of keep it fairly quick and simple. I know this is going to be backwards for you. I'm going to try to talk you through it and show you as I'm doing it. We want 1x1 ribbing. So right now I've set up two knits, 2 purls, 2 knits, 2 purls. We're actually going to work across and we're going to knit 1x1 ribbing. And when we come to knit some purls that aren't in 1x1 ribbing order, we're going to actually twist them, almost like doing a cable stitch, like a twisted cable stitch. So I'm starting off knits. I've got 2 knits in a row here, so I'm going to knit 1 stitch. My next stitch is a knit. I want that to be a purl. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my knitting needle, and in the second stitch here, which is my purl, I'm just going to pick up the back leg of that stitch so it's on the needle. I'm going to drop off the stitch that's in front. That's the knit. These are the 2 stitches that I want to trade places. I'm just going to let that fall off the needle. I'm not sure, hopefully that's focusing okay. And I'm going to pick it up and I'm just going to twist those 2 stitches. So I'm going to move that purl stitch so it's now the one on the tip of my needle. So now I can work a purl stitch. So there's a purl. The knit that we just twisted is sitting right here. There's naturally a purl next. And then now I come to two knit stitches are side by side again, which is okay. I want to knit the first one. Now that second one, it is a knit and I want it to be a purl. So again, this first one on the tip of the needle, I'm going to let it pop off the needle. So what I mean, I could do is I could just pop both those stitches off if I want to be brave. I'm going to move pick up the knit and twist it around and move this purl. So I'm just literally just repositioning those stitches so that they are now in the order that I want them to be. Did I hear about purple yarn? It is Patton's Croy. I switched walls for tonight, you guys. So I'm just going to keep working across here. And I'm sitting in front of my sock yarn wall now. So I'm just keeping going, looking at my knit 2 purl 2 ribbing here, and I'm going, if the stitches are in order, I'm just going to work them. As soon as I come to 2 knits that are side by side, like I have here, this is where I'm going to stop, and I'm going to move this stitch here is a knit, this stitch here is a purl. I want this stitch in front. So I'm just going to put my needle into that purl stitch just to hold on to it, because it is a little scary taking both stitches off the needle. This knit that's sitting here, I'm just going to pick it up and move it behind and pick up the purl so it's in front. It's probably one of those things that sounds more complicated than it is. Once you start doing it, you'll be fine. And then I just carry on. The rest of my stitches are in order. So now I still have the same number of stitches. I have just repositioned them from 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 to 1 by 1 by 1. Knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1. And now we're set up, ready to do the tubular cast off. Now I want to cut my yarn, because the tubular cast on, the second cast off, I said cast on again, didn't I? Second cast off I'm going to show you is actually just Kitchener stitch. This one here is kind of a version of Kitchener stitch, I suppose. It's but if you thought Kitchener stitch took a little bit of time to get your head wrapped around, this one here might be a little more daunting at first, but don't let that fool you. I've just cut a length of yarn. You're going to want to have probably 3 or 4 times the width of your piece that you're going to cast off as a long tail, just so this, and cut it a little longer, because you do not want to be working a kind of a graft or this cast off and have to join partway through. That would just be really bad luck. So here I am. I'm set up. I've got my stitches set up in knit 1, purl 1. This is a 5-step process. I will put down in the description, I will put these 5 steps. I am also going to film, and I know I've said this in the past and I have not gotten around to it, but I promise. I am going to get this up in the next day or two. I'm going to film this. So, I mean, there's a lot of YouTube videos out there that you could go Google and look at, but I'm going to put them up on my channel just mostly for my own reference of all of these cast-offs and cast-ons that we've done. You really do need to see this one overhead, but I'm going to walk you through it. 5 steps. First one, so this is like a lot like Kitchener stitch. The needle's going in knitwise and purlwise, knitwise and purlwise. Some stitches are staying on, some stitches are staying off. The first stitch, you go in knitwise and it comes off. Then you go in, you know what, I think I'll just do it. So very first stitch, knitwise. Hey, Katie. Oh, twisted 1 by 1 rib. Oh, okay. I'll come back and I'll scroll through some comments later at the end. There we go. So you go in knitwise and you slide it off. Now we're going to go in the second stitch. The first stitch just sits, the second stitch. We go in purlwise and it stays on. Now you're going to go in the very first stitch. You go in purlwise again. This time the stitch comes off the needle. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take your darning needle, you're going to come around to the back of the work, and you're going to insert the darning needle between the first and the second stitch and pull it through towards you. Then you go in the second stitch on the needle, you go in knitwise, and the stitch stays on. That is the 5 steps. And trust me, I know right now you're probably thinking, oh my gosh, you totally lost me like after step 2, but it gets easier. I just wrote the 5 steps out, and once I've done them a few times, it gets easier. Trust me, I would not lead you astray. So let's go through it. I'm going to go through all the way across the needle, okay? Well, or at least most of the way. We'll see. There's only 12 stitches, so hopefully it won't take too long. First step, first stitch on the very end of the needle, knitwise and off. You know what? I gotta get rid of this tail, or I'll be playing with this all night. Go in knitwise and off. Now you go into the second stitch on the needle, you go in purlwise and it stays on. Then the first stitch, you go purlwise again and it comes off. And as you're doing this, you don't want to pull too tight across the top. You'll see, you want it snug, but you don't want it too tight. Now we're going to bring the needle around behind and come in between the 2 stitches and pull it through. And then go into the second stitch, knitwise, and you leave it on. I'll do a couple more. I probably won't go all the way across the row, and then I'll show you how to do the other one. So the very end stitch is knitwise and off. Then the second stitch here on the needle, you go in purlwise and it stays on. It gets kind of rhythmic as you're going across. Now the very end stitch is purlwise and it comes off. And you just kind of get a feel for how to tighten up. Now this is where we come around behind in between the 2 stitches, kind of almost like as if you're doing a cable cast on kind of thing. And then you come to the second stitch on the needle and you go in knitwise and you leave it on. So just like that. And that is the start of the cast off. It's pretty easy. I did that all with, I'm really bad for being able to memorize things, and I was able to get that kind of rhythm down. I did it 2 or 3 times and was able to remember it. So hopefully you will be able to as well. So I like it. Very stretchy, very pretty, and it definitely matches the cast on. So that's a definite bonus. It is a little fiddlier, but still totally worth it. Okay, let's do the other one. So if you don't want to do this, if you think doing those 5 steps, that's like too much brain power for you to try to remember, that is okay. What we can do, I'm going to set this sample to the side for right now. I've got another little 2x2 ribbing piece here. So again, on this one, I cast on with long tail. You can see that because we kind of have that braid across the front of it. 2x2 ribbing. If you're going to do this, is just straight stockinette stitch, but you have to set your stitches up differently. That's the difference on this one. This one again, it can be knit 2, purl 2. It can be knit 1, purl 1. Doesn't matter. Not like the other one where it had to be, to cast off, it had to be 1x1 ribbing. This you can leave it as 2x2. But with this one, what we're going to do is we are going to slip our stitches. You need 3 needles for this. 2 needles are going to be holding your stitches. A spare needle is going to, no, it's not. We just need 2. We just need 2 with this one. Okay, no, we don't. We do need 3 because we're going to slip stitches here. I knew we needed 3. Okay, so I've got 2 by 2 ribbing. I'm going to put all the knit stitches onto one needle and all the purl stitches onto a second needle. So I'm going to hold them like this. 2 needles in my right hand. One needle is going to have all the knits. The other is going to have all the purls. So I've got 2 by 2, so I'm just going to slip 2 knits onto my light needle. The darker needle, I'm going to slip the purls onto there. So this is a little fiddly too, because you don't want to drop any stitches off. So it's just one of those things. You just have to pick whatever is the least fiddly to you, because both of these cast-ons end up looking the same. So there, I've started separating my stitches out. So I'm just going to go across. I'm going to slip all the knits onto the one needle, all the purls onto the other, knits and knits, and purls and purls. Just like that. And now I'm going to use my darning needle. So while I get this ready here, I seen everybody was talking about what they've been working on. Has anybody, let me know down in the comment, has anybody done the tubular cast off? Or even the cast on? I would be interested to know. Or do you think it's something that you think you would attempt to do now that we've been talking about it a little bit? So here we go. I had my 2 by 2 ribbing, and I have it split out now between, I've got knits and I've got purls. And so now doing this is, your stitches are sitting here almost like it's the toe of a sock, and you're going to do Kitchener stitch. And we don't really have ribbing any longer, because you can see we just have knit stitches on this side and knit stitches on this side. So we're just going to treat it just like regular old Kitchener stitching. And that's all we're going to do. And it's not going to close our stitches in. Even though I have them on 2 separate needles, they're still going to come out in one straight line. Because that was my first thought. When I first started watching a video, I thought, this seems kind of odd. But it works. So Kitchener stitch. Are you guys all familiar with Kitchener stitch? We have to do that setup to begin with. The stitch closest to you, you go in purlwise and leave it on. Donna's been doing 2 dozen hats, 10 dishcloths, and 8 pairs of slippers since January. My word. Busy, busy knitter. And the back stitch is knit and on. So then the front now, we go knit and off. And this, you know what, this works easy because a lot of, people know how to do Kitchener stitch, right? Oh, Katie, you've done the tubular cast on, and you would try the cast off. Perfect. I think I am going to use this in more projects now that I've revisited it. And I think it's just good to have it in your toolbox, right? Your little kit of tips and tricks that you know. So as I'm going across here, just doing Kitchener stitch. So the stitch on the front, I've gone in knitwise and off. Now I'm going in purlwise and on. And now I go to the back, and it's purlwise and off. Now I'm assuming everybody here has done Kitchener stitch before. Is that right? And then the back needle again is going in knitwise on that next stitch, and it stays on. Back to the front, knitwise and off. And then we'll go in purlwise and stay on. Just kind of get that mantra going through your head, don't you, when you're doing Kitchener stitch. The back is purlwise and off. And then this next stitch on the back is knitwise and on. And back to the front, knitwise and off. And the next stitch on the front is purlwise and on. Go to the back, purlwise and off. I'm almost there. And then knitwise and on. Boy, this takes me back to teaching sock knitting classes. And then back to the front, knitwise and off. And then purlwise and on. And then we'll have this one done. Back is purlwise and off. So I do have some knitting to show you too, which we'll get to that. And we're going to talk about the sock knitting challenge. Okay, in the front is knitwise and off, and purlwise and off at the back. And we're done. I should have a mobile yarn shop. Yeah, you could be right. So there's the cast off, you guys. I maybe have a loose stitch right there, but there you go. And look at the stretch on that. And there it is from the other side. Easy peasy. Something worth trying. Either one, the grafted, splitting your stitches out onto the 2 needles, the knits on one needle, purls on the other, or just doing the 5-step tubular and going through. Both are really quick and easy. Give you that nice stretch. And that's an alternative just to that regular cast on. Hey, Susanna. So if you've got something that's ribbed and you don't want to just do a regular cast off, or if for some reason you don't want to do cast off in pattern where you cast off your knits as knits and purls as purls, the tubular would be a good option for you. Okay, you want to learn one more thing tonight? This is there's 3. Normally I'm not probably going to do 3, but I had mentioned last week that we would do all of them, so we are doing all of them. This one, the Chinese Waitress cast on. I always think that name is kind of funny, and I don't know what a good name would be for that. I don't know. Anyways, Chinese Waitress cast on. I guess that's what I'll call it. I was kind of thinking maybe we should just call it the Waitress cast on. I'm not too sure. Let me see where my yarn went. This is a fun one. Hey, Sally. This is a fun one as well. It has some stretch to it, but it is also it has some stretch, but it is also sturdy. And it does give you a little bit taller cast on edge than just a regular long tail or a knitted or a cabled cast on. It's interesting. It has an interesting look to it. It is you just need a short tail. Just leave a tail for weaving in and make your slip knot, so you don't have to worry about pulling out. It's not a long tail where you have to estimate the length of yarn you need. And you're going to slip that on your knitting needle. We are going to use 2 needles to cast this one on. And this one is about 4 steps. And again, you're going to look at this and you're going to go, what are you doing? If you haven't seen this one before, again, trust me, it gets very rhythmic as well. But you are going in, you're going to wrap your needle, and you're actually kind of wrapping both needle tips. And then you're going to pull it through. You're going to slip 1 stitch. You're going to end up with 2 stitches on your knitting needle. You're going to slip the back one up, over, and off, just as if you're casting on. Then that single stitch you've got left on your needle, you're going to actually take it off the needle, give it a little rotate, put your needle in from the other side, and put it back on the needle. I know it sounds a little crazy, doesn't it? So we'll start off right off the bat. We have to do a little setup because we're not going to have those 2 stitches to be able to pass one up, over, and off. So we're going to start. The slip knot goes onto your left hand needle. The right hand needle We're going to set it on top. Set it on top of the working yarn. And we are going to wrap. So you kind of want your needles to look like a plus sign, because this is my left needle tip. The working yarn needs to come over top of that. Normally we would, kind of get our yarn away from this needle tip and just wrap the right tip. This time we want to go over top of that left needle tip and then wrap. Actually, I'm going to switch needles here. I know I want to do this on a wood needle. I was doing it earlier on the wooden or the metal needle, and it was really slippery. Talking about needle choices, this is a time I'm going to prefer to do a wooden one. So, knitting needle on top of the yarn. Our needles are looking like a plus sign. The yarn goes over top of the left needle tip, and then we just wrap around like normal and pull the stitch through. We're going to pinch it with our left hand. See how right now my needle is coming in from the right hand side of the stitch? I'm going to put it in through the left hand. We're just going to twist that stitch around and leave it on the right hand needle. So again, our needle this is kind of your setup. So your needle tips look like this plus sign. The working yarn is underneath. You come up and over top of that left hand needle tip and then wrap and pull through a loop. See how I now have 2 stitches on the needle? I'm going to pick up this back one with my fingers and just go up and over and let it fall off, just as if you're casting off. Now we're going to pinch this stitch that's left, pull our needle out, and slide it in the other side so it twists it around. Our needles make this plus sign. We go over top of the left-hand needle tip, wrap around, and pull it through. Back to 2 stitches on the needle. Pick up the back one, up, over, and off. Pinch the stitch that's left on the right-hand needle. Take our needle out and come in the other way. And we start it all over again. Make her cross. The working yarn comes up over the left needle tip. Wrap around the right needle tip as we normally do. And we're going to slide it through. 2 stitches on the needle. I'm going to pick up this back one here and lift it up, over, and off. When will that be a good cast on? It seems like a lot of work. It seems like it, but really once you get going, it goes pretty quick. But see, can you see how tall it looks? Like it reminds me of like crocheting when you're doing like a single crochet, then you do your double and your triple and your whatevers, right? How each one of those gets a little taller. That's what this reminds me of. All those steps seem to just add a little extra bit to this row. It's really stretchy and it gives a really pretty edge. You know how the long tail gives you kind of that rope or that braided look on the one side? Where's my long tail? You guys all know what a long tail, right? How like there's what I kind of consider like the rope or the braided edge on the one side, and then the other side is more kind of like your pearl bump side. This Chinese Waitress cast on doesn't have that. It looks reversible. It just really looks like you have knit stitches coming down to the edge of your cast on. It makes kind of like a chain stitch. It has a really nice flat edge all along the bottom, but the sides, both sides, this side and the back side, look the same. Yeah. So it's reversible, and it does have some stretch, but it's sturdy, if that makes some sense. So it is it's a very interesting, like I wonder why or how somebody thought to do this, right? So let's do a couple more. So I'm going to make my X, my T. The working yarn goes over top of the left needle tip, wrap it around. So right there, as we're doing this, so as we're going over the needle tip, that's our new cast on stitch right there. Then we wrap it and we pull through. And then when we're lifting up and over here, this is what's giving us that really nice chain stitch all along the very bottom. So let me do a couple more so you can see. So over that left needle tip, wrap around as normal, pull through, and then we're going to go up and over. I'll do one more and then I'll show you. When you get to the end stitch, you can either, oops, okay, so now I'm going to move my, I think those last couple, I think I forgot to twist my stitch, so I'll see what that does. Actually, I don't think it really did too much to my chain. Anyways, so you got to remember, sometimes you got to lift that stitch up, over, and off, and then that single stitch, you've got to hold it, take your needle out, and go into the other side of it just to twist it. I think I forgot when I was chatting there. Probably not going to make a big difference. It may just not twist your stitch. Yeah, I think I can maybe see where it went a little wonky, but it's not that big of a deal. When you get to the end here, you've got this one stitch. You could just scoop it up like you do with a knitted cast on, or I did see you could come in here and you can knit it on. But you know, honestly, I think really just sliding it on is your end stitch. I don't think it's going to make too much of a difference. So I think I would just slide it on just like you were doing a knitted cast on. So there's what it looks like. Oh, is it a Tunisian cast on? Oh my gosh, there's so many. And then can you see the bottom? It's just, it looks really nice. Just a really nice even, you know how you're, when you slip stitches along the edge of your knitting and you get that nice chain stitch edge all the way up? That's what this looks like on the very bottom of your cast on. And it has got lots of stretch to it, but it's also sturdy at the same time because it's got that little extra height. So I would use this, I mean, yeah, where would I use this? Maybe, I don't know, it would probably make a nice edge on the bottom of a sweater. That's a good question, right? Where would you use all these cast-ons? Because most of us use the long tail for everything, right? I might try a scarf with this edge. Or maybe even, oh, when I cast on, I've got some summer tops coming up that I want to try. And now I'm like, ooh, what will I do? Will I do a tubular cast on, or I could do this one? Because really, I like all of them. This one here, the Italian is the only one that I was kind of like, I think I could still find something better to do with that. So those are those. There you go. That's your learning piece for tonight. So I hope maybe that has inspired you to maybe try some of these. Like I said, I will put some videos up on the Wildflower World channel right here, so you could you can always come back to them as reference, right? And like I said, you know, there's all kinds of videos out there for different versions, but different people say it in different ways or show it a little differently, you know, so you can always, I'll just add mine out there in case it makes more sense to you than somebody else's maybe. I know, I see some comments here about don't cast on any more new sweaters, finish what I have. I know, I will. Asa's making me a list. I'm going to have to finish them all now. Okay, let's talk about the sock knitting challenge before I show you what I actually got knit this past weekend. So Easter is coming up this weekend. Can you guys believe it? Easter is here already. Easter sock knitting challenge over in the Fiber Friends group. There's a Ravelry thread started on the Fiber Friends group, so you can go over there and you can post what your knitting challenge is going to be for the Easter weekend. We're taking 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and knitting socks. So anything that is a challenge for you for socks. Some of you guys have probably heard me say this spiel quite a bit. But for those of you who are popping in here for the very first time, this is going to be lots of fun. So personal challenge for you. It could be anything. It could be, yes, my project managers. If you've got something on your needles that you want to get finished, it could be that. It could be casting on a new pair of socks. You could try to see how much you can get knit in those 3 days. Can you get a whole pair of socks done? Can you get one pair done? Can you get a pair of shorties done? Do you want to cast on a brand new pattern? Hey, Zaki, I don't think I said hi to you. It can be a new pattern. It could be trying a new heel. It could be trying color work socks for the very first time. It could be knee highs. It could be, oh, Asa saying she just finished a pair of socks in 3 days. Well, Asa setting the bar high for us. I don't know. I want to be able to get a sock done. If I can get maybe 2 socks done in the weekend, I don't know. That would be pushing it for me. Anyways, pick something that is a challenge for you. Like I said, a new technique. It could be toe up. It could be 2 at a time. It could just be to pick up a sock that's on the needles and get the leg done. Or if you're almost done, have your leg half done, maybe you want to finish the leg and turn the heel. It doesn't have to be to finish something. It can just be set a deadline for yourself and see if you can meet it. Head over to the Fiber Friends Ravelry group and just say, hey, I'm in for the challenge, and this is what I think I'm going to work on. This is what I want to have done by the end of the weekend. And we have got prizes. So for everybody who takes part, I am going to gift you a copy of this pattern. Can you see? I know I only have a teeny tiny little bit done, and I found this. This has been in my, also this will be on my whip list somewhere. This is the Rambling Friends sock pattern. I designed this a few years ago when the Fiber Friends first started podcasting, when Adrian and Carol and I started podcasting. And this was one of the socks that went with one of Caroline's bags. I think this, yeah, anyways, I think this might have been our first, very, very first kit. And here is my sock still sitting here. So maybe I'll get it finished for the challenge weekend. But anyways, everybody will get a copy of this pattern because I think it's a really fun pattern. It has some cables and lace stitches in here. It's very, very pretty. And there's even a little secret detail up the back, a little lace panel just for some fun. So that's that. So if you want to take part, go over there to Ravelry. Let us know that you're going to take part. Post pictures of your yarn in the Facebook group, Fiber Friends Friday Night Knit In. That's where all of the fun, most of the fun is going to happen over the weekend. People just posting pictures there, your starting point, lots of progress pictures throughout the weekend. And hopefully when we get to Sunday, we'll see some finishes or finished what your goal was. And just, I want to see like tons and tons and tons of pictures. So when people are taking breaks from their knitting, you can go on the Facebook group, scroll through, and you can cheer everybody on with their sock knitting. So as for more prizes, so everybody that takes part, and on Sunday, if you post a picture, I'll have like a finished thread. And Cheryl and I decided that you don't necessarily have to meet your goal. Even though, you know, I mean, we want it to be fun, not stressful. So everybody who takes part gets a copy of the sock pattern. Everybody who takes part is going to be, their name, will pick 2 random winners. One is going to be a sock bag. If you saw the Fiber Friends podcast Friday, we talked a little bit about this. Cheryl is going to sew one of her sock bags. I think one of the wedge bags. She showed the size of it on the last podcast. You'll be able to pick out the fabric and she will sew that for you. And Suzanne from Knit Stitch is going to donate a skein of sock yarn for one lucky sock challenge knitter. So it's going to be fun. We've got lots of prizes for everybody who takes part. It's going to be tons and tons of fun. Oh, awesome. So that you're saying you've had this pair knit and worn out. I know. I haven't even got mine done yet. I have one done. This is actually sock 2. So I'm not all that far behind. Maybe this will be my weekend to get caught up. So sock knitting challenge is going to be fun, and we've got great prizes, which always make the fun just even a little more funner, right? So we will draw prizes. We will close the thread probably sometime on Monday, and we will announce the winner the following Friday of the yarn and the sock bag. Super lots of fun. Okay, do you want to see what I was actually knitting on last week? I have a little bit of progress. I'll show you a couple things, and then we can just do some more chit-chatting. I love that you guys are chatting here as I'm just yattering away here. My hat, my colorwork hat that I started designing, I did not get finished. I had said this was going to be my knitting goal for this week, and I didn't get it done but I did get something else finished instead. But here it is. It is growing. Oh boy, this is one project I don't want to lose any stitches off the end of my needle here. So I am knitting it magic loop. And there it is. So I've got two, oh no, I don't. I'm a couple of rows short of having 2 full pattern repeats done. There, and I'm really liking this. And if you want to see, if you're one of these people who like to see the inside of colorwork, there's my inside. This is that new Leo and Roxy basic yarn. It is gorgeous, lovely, super, super soft. In love with this. Thanks, Donna. I really like this pattern. I think this pattern might actually be called First Flowers, I think, is maybe what I'm going to call it. But I'm liking it. Already thinking about what I'm going to do with the rest of this yarn, because this is hardly making a dent in any of this yarn. I'm going to be able to make a lot of hats out of this. So I may actually re-knit this and just switch some colors around. Initially, when I had thought I was using these 3 colors, I was going to use the navy, the Queen's Navy, as the main color, and then the gray and the yellow as the contrasting. And then when I actually, thanks, Asa, when I swatched for it, I thought, no, I like the navy and the mustard as the contrast. So I did. So I think next time I will switch some of the colors up. Oh, yep. Amber's saying the exact same thing. I could change the colors up, and I think I will. And I still have some other colors here. I have, oh, what do I have? Where are they? I have the raspberry ripple. I have a green, and oh, the orange. I have an orange that I could do something with too. Okay, want to see what I finished? I finished my cabled cowl. Remember this one? I know I showed this on the fiber front. Sometimes I'm losing track of what I'm showing on these Monday starts and the Friday, because yeah, Mondays I start and Fridays we do fiber fronts. Cajun Spice, that's the name of it. Yes, because I had to get orange, right? Oh my gosh, Asa, your job doing countdowns for people. So anyway, so this is this Rio Kalina cowl. Oh my gosh, don't say that, Asa, because I have a huge snake phobia. I will never be able to wear this if I associate that. It is a river. This is what all of these cables are supposed to be. It is just supposed to be like a river, just flowing, and then you cabled wherever you felt like it. So, and I finished it differently than what the pattern said, because yeah, I don't, I like this better. So what I have, I think I did put an Instagram post showing this, and or the trunk of an old tree. Let's go with that, Asa. So here where I've just tacked this down, I'm going to put buttons. I've got 3 of these buttons. I'm just going to put 3 buttons along the edge here. just to kind of finish it off. But this was a ball and a half of worsted weight Patton's Classic wool that I have had in my stash forever. So look at this is making a dent in my stash. And I loved doing this. And it was so fun. This was one of those projects that I did not want to end. Oh, thanks, Asa. I know, I really like the button. I like buttons on anything. I like buttons on hats too. I think it just gives it a little bit of a finish, right? Yeah, it's fun. So there, I did get a finish done. What else can I show you? Oh, I do have something else. I will let's talk about organizing the stash. Okay, so let's talk about, okay, I will leave the other ball of yarn. We'll chat about it next weekend. So I did work on this wall, and this is, so these cubbies here. Oh, use my Norway buttons. I don't know if I can use them yet. I have the yarn from Norway is literally within hand's reach here. And oh, the pink sock. Yes, I was going to tell you about the pink sock, Donna. Thank you for reminding me of that. Okay, I'll show you that before. Oh, there it is. I had other things sitting on it. So I organized this wall this weekend some more. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So these cubbies here, there is 6 of them. And this is all full. Pickles yarn. My pickles yarn, I can't quite reach it, but it's sitting here. It doesn't fit on my sock yarn wall. But yeah, this is a lot. This is all my, well, not all of it. Not all of my sock yarn fit on here. But most of it is here. So now I can see it. I need to remind, I know, I keep getting distracted pretty easy. Well, you know what? I had to organize because I had to find the yarn for my Icefall sweater, Amber. Because Jocelyn and I are going live here on the Wildflower Wool channel Thursday night. So if you are interested to see how Jocelyn and I made out with our March whips. Hey, oh, is that Karen that popped in? Hi, Karen. It is. Hi, Karen. Nope, pickles yarn. I was actually fondling that yarn yesterday. So anyway, so yeah, most of my sock yarn is here, and there's some over here. It didn't quite all fit on here. There was quite a bit. I had to really, good job, sock yarn is squishy because I was able to squish a lot of it in here. So at some point, now that I have it all organized, now I can actually start trying to knit from it. Okay, so James, what's this? The first project you're doing, weaving a sweater. When you're done the sweater, so for the next project. Well, very good. How's your tatting going? I was thinking about your tatting. Okay, the sock, my pink sock. I showed that Fiber Friends. So the sock yarn, this was another Monday yarn, and you guys picked this yarn. This is the Love Bug from Leo and Roxy. Look at those pretty speckles. So here it is started, and I used the tubular cast on. I used the provisional tubular cast on. I've kind of decided that's how I'm going to distinguish between the two, because there's the long tail, which is a tubular, but it is very much like is a version of a long tail. This is the provisional cast on. Oh, you like the crow tatting? Good. Oh, that's awesome, James. So there I am. So look at that. So this was the one I used with the crochet hook and did that provisional cast on. I knit 4 rows of stockinette. Then I took out the crocheted cast on, picked up those live stitches, and then I just folded it in half and started working my increases for my toe. And then I just decided to add a little bit of lace on there. You know what? You're right. My all the charity yarn is sitting in my living room. I was I was I added more to it on the weekend when I was doing this. I have it all. I was going to make one big trip and get rid of all of it. Yeah. And I have more because now, well, maybe we'll talk about that next week. I have some white yarn. I have all this yarn that I kept forever and ever, and now I'm going to get rid of it. Oh, Joanne, you want to learn that way? Well, I'm going to post a video if you want to check back here this week. I'm going to go through all of the stitches that I've done since January that we've talked about on these Monday Night Lives, and I'm going to do little short how-to videos and post them. And this one worked really, really easy. I know we talked a bit about the toe last week, and I said, oh, I wonder if the tubular cast on is used for sock knitting. And a couple people chimed in the comments and they said, no, the Turkish cast on is. Turkish tubular. So, but this, it worked. It worked great. And, you know, if you find Jenny's Magic Cast On, that's the one. Jenny? Is it Jenny Super? Oh my gosh. Judy. No, it's not Jenny. It's Judy. Jenny's surprisingly super stretchy bind off, and it's, oh my gosh, Judy's Magic Cast On. I need to have a cheat sheet. I need to write all this stuff down. If you find that Judy's Magic Cast On is fiddly holding the 2 needles, or if you find you can't get your stitches tight enough, thanks, Amber. This would be a good alternative to it. You know, there again, it's just picking your fiddly. This way you have hi Nadine, you have live stitches to pick up and you have the crochet hook. But really, now that I've done this a few more times, like the first, honestly, 2 times, even maybe 3 times, you know, it seemed a little fiddly. Now I can do it without any problem at all. Oh, Donna, are we again? Oh no. Oh no. Well, it doesn't surprise me. Looks like lockdown is coming again. Anyways, I like this. The cast on was great. I would highly suggest giving it a try. So that is pretty much it. Was I going to talk about anything else? So my sock yarn wall is well, it's done because it's full. I still have a little bit more yarn to go on there, but I've got it set here. I am thinking probably in a couple of weeks on one of these Monday nights, I will maybe do a little, just hold the camera and I'll just kind of do a little tour around the room and you can see what the whole room looks like. Because it's pretty much done, finally. And I will show you all of the yarn that I am actually going to donate. There's getting to be quite a pile of it. Okay, what is this? You'll put those on the whip list. Oh, Joanne, you've never been out of red? See, we're in orange, but yeah, I heard today our numbers have like doubled since, I don't know, Friday or something. I didn't know we were going back into red though, but I guess that's not surprising. Well, so good. I'm happy you guys have all been chatting, which is fantastic. I'm just going to go back here. I'm scared also to see what this whip list is going to look like if you've been going back that far. Oh no. Oh yes, I'll need to donate soon. Oh, that's right. If we're going back into lockdown. Oh, good heavens. Yeah. Maybe I should do, we'll have to see if I can get it there before this lockdown comes. I know I'm getting a little bit better about getting rid of some things. I'm trying anyways. If I'm really not going to use it, I do want to just pass it on. So here's a question for you guys. If you leave me a comment down below, what these Monday Night Lives, would you rather them be just kind of an informal chit chat, or would you like to keep having like a little learning piece in there like we did tonight with the cast offs and the cast on? Is that helpful? Is it interesting? If it is, if you are interested in that part, then I would be willing to do more. And oh, I know Joanne just wants to see your grandchildren. I know people are starting to really, I know, really miss seeing family. Oh, then you've got another finger surgery, Susanna. Is this still the first one? I can't remember now. Did they do, is this just the first one or is this the second one? No, I'm not donating my black boucle, not yet. So anyways, yes, so my plan is if you guys are interested in the learning piece, like having a little bit of a knit lesson on these Monday nights, what I might try to do is pre-record the how-to video, and put it up Sunday night or even Monday morning, like the hands over, a shot down on the hands to actually see the cast-ons and the knit stitches. So then you could even actually look at that before we do this, and then I can kind of, as a refresher, I could walk you through it. You guys can think about that, and you can leave a comment either right now or on the replay or somewhere. And then we'll see. And then I can just kind of tailor these to what you guys want to come here and listen to. Oh, Carrie says she likes learning. Oh, you like the learning portion? Okay. Oh, also you have to get your shot, neighbor. I'm actually getting mine on Sunday. It's going to cut into my sock knitting a little bit, but you gotta do. Oh, Zakia, you like the learning parts also? Okay. Then if that's, oh, Amber, the learning part's fun. Okay, then that's what I will do. And good. And then I will try to get the how-to videos up as well. So then you've got a little something to refer to what I'm just chatting and talking you through. Then you can actually go back and watch a quick little video. And hopefully that way it'll all, make sense. And then you can have something to refer back to as well. What I would really like to do at some point, but then I'd have to be super organized, is to eventually have a pattern or something that can go along with the technique. But that's what I would like to do. The full-time job gets in the way of that part a little bit, but you never know. Once I get these all down, I find it's just getting in the habit of fitting everything into the week, and hopefully some more designs will fit in there. I'm hoping that's kind of my goal for this year, is to get back into doing some regular designing. Also, you like the learning part? Yes, and having an overhead show and tell. Yes, definitely want that, because you have to have that, right? You need to be able to see the hands overhead of what's going, actually, what they're doing, right? You can explaining it's what is helpful if you've already seen the overhead. So I'll try to do that for next week. Oh, okay, this is the one, oh, that couldn't be done last year. Okay, that's right. I know it's so hard to keep track of whether things actually have happened or how many things have got postponed. Oh, Sally, you like all of it. Okay, then how I think I will do it then is at the very beginning, like we did tonight. We'll just do a quick hi, a little chit chat, and I'll kind of give you an overview of what we're going to do. And then we'll do the knit lesson part, and then we'll just spend the rest of the hour and a little bit chit-chatting, and I'll show you some of my knitting, and then you guys obviously can just chit-chat through the whole thing. Perfect. Sounds like a good plan to me. Okay, everybody, I think I will wrap it up there. I do want to try to keep them about an hour, not too much over an hour, because it is getting later at night, and I think I'm just going to sit back and I'm going to do a little bit of knitting right now. So my goal, I'm going to try, I every time I feel like I say I'm going to have a goal, it kind of usually backfires on me, but I'm going to try it. I do really want to try and get the hat pattern finished. I do want to really try that, because I'm really enjoying knitting on it. Okay. Oh, a few more people are saying they like Susie likes the learning part. Oh, James, you got some yarn at Walmart today. Fantastic. Um, oh yes, Susanna, I did. So it's the one that was rescheduled from a year ago. Well, that's good. I'm glad that you're getting in. So hopefully you can get in and before anything goes into more lockdown in your neck of the woods. Well, thanks everybody. This has been lovely as always. I really look forward to these Monday chats with you guys. So I've got Friday. Cheryl and I will be back on Friday. There'll be a Fiber Friends podcast up Friday night. I'll be live in the Fiber Friends Facebook group Friday night. Sock knitting, hopefully. Hopefully I'll have my sock at a spot where I can knit and talk. And that's right. I know us. I know. We're lucky that you're here because you're on vacation because it is literally the middle of the night for you. So I'm really happy that that you stayed up and were able to chat with everybody. I know it's the time change, right? I know. I wish it worked out better for everybody, but I'm glad that you'll be able to pop in here every once in a while, which is fantastic. All right, everybody, have a great week. So yeah, hopefully I will see you Friday night and see you Friday with the Fiber Friends, and we'll be back here on Monday. So I think next Monday, since everybody is interested in the learning piece, I think we're going to talk about some stranded color work. Oh yes, and Thursday, Jocelyn and I will be here Thursday. I was starting to feel like I'm living here. I know I kind of missed our Thursday nights when Jocelyn and I were doing them every week. And then the first week we didn't do one on Thursday night, I felt lost not having Jocelyn to chat to. So I am looking forward to Thursday. Yes. So I have got Tuesday and Wednesday to knit. Thursday, Jocelyn and I will be here talking about our March whips and see if we met our goals or not. Friday is Fiber Friends podcast and the live. Saturday and Sunday, it carries on from Friday for the sock knitting challenge. And then Monday, I'll be back here again. It's just one big knitting whirlwind fun. So everybody have fun. Have a great knitting week. Get tons of knitting done wherever you are. And yeah, and if we're heading back into lockdown or getting there, I guess it will be more knitting time for me. Thursday will be 7:30, so half an hour earlier than tonight. Jocelyn and I will be here, and then we usually chat for about an hour or two, and then because she's got something else that she does later on in the evening, so we start a half an hour earlier. So around 7:30. We'll see you guys on Thursday if you join Jocelyn and I, or we'll see you back here Monday. Have a fantastic week, everybody. Bye.